Now, secondly, he tells us these three stories next to give us a right view of ourselves. Religious people, people like us who believe in God, go to church, read our Bibles, give offerings, aspire to do good things, people like us, there's an attitude that you and I have to be constantly on guard against. It's an attitude of spiritual pride, which says, wow, I'm on God's side. God chose me, therefore, I must be better than other people. Wow. Oh, be careful, my friends. And it can slip into our hearts so easy. Now, imagine if you were one of the 99 that stayed by the shepherd, I imagine with some justification that you could say, now look, I had the good sense to stay right by the shepherd. I didn't feel the need to go exploring. I'm not like that bad sheep. Right here. I suppose if you were the older son, you could say with good reason, hey, I didn't get happy feet. I didn't ask for my share of the inheritance. I'm the one who's acting responsibly. Aren't I something? See, that's spiritual pride, and we got to guard our hearts against it. It can slip in so easily. Last summer, we were still in L.A., and we wanted to check out the theater before we moved, so we went and saw Cats down at the Pantages Theater. And on the train ride home, back to Azusa, it was about midnight, and that must be the witching hour in L.A., because there were 3 people in our car alone who were 1 taco short of a combination plate, if you know what I mean. Over here is a woman just talking angrily to herself. And this is all right around us. A guy standing at the door here, and he had like a bug coming out of his shirt because he was just doing this. And then right across from us, seated was a young lady who was tied up to her phone and earplugs, and she was just swaying to the music. We were in her world, and she was just having fun. And 2 thoughts simultaneously went through my mind as I'm observing this. First, my threat awareness was at DEFCON 1. Because if you're around people and they don't seem to have any kind of awareness of what proper social behavior is, you don't know what else they're capable of. And so it's like Star Trek, shields up. And it's not wrong to think this way either, my friends. It's not. We have to know the world we live in. And this world is broken, and it is filled with broken, shattered people who are capable of doing terrible things. Being a Christian does not mean we blissfully pretend that, isn't this a wonderful world, and we just trust everybody. How many of you lock your cars and houses at night? So you know. One of the last things we did in Connecticut before I left my church there is we set up a church security team. Here we lived an hour away from Sandy Hook. And it finally dawned on us that it would be an act of good stewardship to provide for the protection of our flock and have some idea in mind of what to do should evil break out around us. So no, that wasn't the sinful thought. It was the second thought that crept in that was the sinful one as we're on the train. It was the thought of, you're weird, I'm not. You're loony, I'm not. Stay away. That was the spiritual pride creeping in. There wasn't a thought of empathy. There wasn't a thought of pity. There wasn't even a Jesus thought of prayer for them. Lord, what must they have gone through to have reached this place? Lord, help them. No, none of that. Just, I'm sane and you're not. Yeah, right. Like I'm saying, I just shelled out $200 for 3 tickets to a nonsensical Broadway musical with no obvious plot, only one good song, Memories, and a stage full of singing cats in pajamas. Yeah. Hollywood thought that was such a good idea, they went and made a movie about it this year. It's simply not true that you and I are better than other people. It's a lie. I can prove it to you. Look at the cross. Jesus had to die for me. Jesus had to die for you. The cross is where God levels the playing field of humanity, and we're all in this boat of sin, this mess of sin together. There's an old cliche that you and I need to take to heart. There but for the grace of God go I. It's based on a verse in 1 Corinthians 15, verse 10, where Paul says, by the grace of God, I am what I am. And you know what that means, friends, is if you've made good choices in your life, and you are reaping some of the rewards and benefits of those good choices, you shouldn't be doing this. You should be saying, by the grace of God, I am what I am. You didn't have a choice of who your parents were. How many of you chose your parents? You didn't have a choice of what country you were born in. Were any of you given a clipboard on the way down the chute where you wanted to be born and parents? Anybody? You weren't given a choice what century you were born in. You weren't given a choice of what kind of wealth you'd have access to, or the health you have, or the education you'd be given. None of that. What is that? It's grace. So, begin with the cross, begin with grace, you'll start to see yourselves properly.